Welcome back to Luke's Properties YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to explain how having no time is the biggest lie that's holding you back. Let's get into it. So first I want to talk about the time myth versus reality. I've spoken to hundreds of people on discovery calls this year, and many of them have told me they don't think they have the time to put into building their own rent-to-rent business. Now, whenever I hear this, it immediately reminds me of myself 7 to 8 years ago. I used to also think I didn't have the time to build my own business. But then one day I checked my screen time and it turned out that I was spending hours and hours a day scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on YouTube, wasting valuable time that I could be putting into my business. So once I decided to start my own business, I actually deleted Instagram for the first 2 years so that I wouldn't waste any time scrolling on the app. Instead, I would use those hours to put into building my business. You don't need to have loads of time, but you need to find at least around 2 hours a day to put into building your business. And more importantly, it's about what you're doing in those 2 hours. So I built a 6-figure rent-to-rent business by working 2 hours a day for 2 years. And how I did this was I made sure in those 2 hours I was doing focused work, needle moving activities without any distractions. 2 hours of focused work a day are far better than 8 hours of unfocused work, which is what most people are doing in their 9-to-5 job. Most people are watching the clock, doing the bare minimum just to get through the day. Now, my top rent-to-rent students, they also do 2 hours of work per day on their rent-to-rent business. Nowadays, I only work for around 1 hour a day. And all I do in that hour is speak to my lettings manager, the person who manages my rent-to-rent portfolio, just to make sure they're okay, to make sure that things are going well, and to see if they need any help. I don't actually spend any of my own time running my rent-to-rent business anymore because I've employed someone to do those tasks. So you should be aiming for compounding focus in short periods of time rather than long hours. A productive 2 hours of focused work is far better than 8 hours of unproductive, unfocused work. Now, why 2 hours a day works is because over time, 2 hours a day starts to compound. 2 hours a day of focused work times 5 days equals 10 hours a week. You can get a lot done in 10 hours of focused work. 10 hours a week works out to be 520 hours of focused work a year, which is the equivalent of 3 full-time months at work. The only difference is you can get so much done in 3 months of focused work if you're doing needle moving activities only, no fluff. If you're only focusing on important tasks that move your business forward, then your results will start to snowball and you'll reach your desired outcome, which is financial freedom for most, a lot faster than most by being focused and only doing needle moving activities. So this is what a typical 2-hour power block looks like for me and my rent-to-rent students. So the first half an hour will be spent calling and messaging at least 3 estate agents and 2 landlords. You'll be able to find landlords on various different platforms like OpenRent. You can find agents on Rightmove, on Zoopla. So your goal for that first half an hour is to speak to 3 agents and 2 landlords. The second half hour should be spent analysing yesterday's leads. So if you've looked at properties the day before, maybe you've gone on a viewing the day before, and now you want to do your numbers to see if the deal stacks and if it's worth making an offer. So you can spend that second half an hour analysing yesterday's leads and working out if there's a potential deal there for you. You can also spend that half an hour preparing your marketing letters, setting up your marketing campaigns, and making sure your direct to landlord marketing letters are being sent to the HMO landlords. You want to make sure your letter contains some compelling copy that really emphasizes the value in your service and how you can solve landlords' problems. The third half an hour block, you'd spend booking and confirming viewings for the following few days. If a landlord or agent hasn't got back to you, then you should follow up with them and lock in that viewing, because without doing the viewing, you can't make an offer. So you have to go and do viewings. And then the fourth half an hour block, you could leave the desk and go and attend a viewing. You could get to know a landlord on the viewing or get to know the letting agent and try and build a rapport. You could also spend this fourth half an hour block crafting 2 offers. If you've done a couple viewings the day before and the properties meet your criteria, then you should be offering on those properties. These are all needle moving activities. These are the tasks that you should be doing day in and day out. These are the tasks that will actually get you where you want to get to. You don't need to be going on networking events. You don't need to be looking on social media. These are the tasks you need to be doing if you want to build a successful rent-to-rent business. These are the needle-moving activities, and you can get a lot done if you focus on these tasks only. So the needle-moving task list is as follows. Call agents and landlords. Send messages and emails. Once you're sending 5 a day, try and increase the volume to 10 per day. The more volume you commit to, the more opportunities will present themselves. Out of those messages and emails, you should be booking viewings. Then you should be attending viewings. After you've attended the viewing, you should be using our deal analyzer spreadsheet to crunch the numbers. Once the deal stacks, you should be making offers and following up. Once you're doing these tasks every day, you need to repeat the process. Now here's some productivity hacks. Before I start my 2-hour power block of work, I'll put my phone on Do Not Disturb so that I can't be distracted by any WhatsApp messages, by text messages, by phone calls. I don't want any distractions. I want to focus solely on these needle moving activities without any outside noise. Sometimes I'll set a 30-minute focus timer just so that I can move through these half-an-hour blocks in the most efficient way. I also make daily checklists and I tick them off as I go. So I'll put these needle moving activities in my notes, or I'll write them down in my notepad, and then as I complete each task, I'll tick them off. This creates momentum. I'll also have some background music just to stimulate my mind, whatever your favorite type of music is. I like R&B, I like hip hop. Sometimes I just play lo-fi beats in the background just to keep the work feeling fun and to keep my energy up. I also work in a bright room, so I make sure my windows are open, I make sure my blinds are open, and I try and work as close to natural light as possible. I find this helps my mind think clearer and be more productive, and the fresh air coming in from the window helps keep my mind clear and focused on my needle moving activities. Now moving on to the creator consumer shift. Now remember, when I first started my business, I deleted Instagram completely because I realized I was wasting time scrolling. But once I built my business, I downloaded Instagram again and I started documenting my journey, which helped me build trust with landlords, with agents, and also helped me build my property education business. I also found documenting my journey quite therapeutic. I used Instagram as like a visual diary of what I was doing day in, day out, and I often used it as a brain dump just to get anything that was on my mind out of my mind and into the world. That would encourage engagement, clear my mind, and encourage other people to message me and relate to my journey. I used to post around 1 progress reel every day or every other day, just updating people on things I'd learned, things I've been doing in my business. This helped me to build my brand, and it also kept me accountable because I was so open with my journey. I was so open with my goals and how my business was going. By making content, it forced me to be accountable, because if I said I was going to do something, even though I had a small following at the time, I still felt obliged to make sure I did that thing and to do what I said I was going to do. So I found creating content far more beneficial than consuming content. So rather than doom scrolling, I would document my journey, which felt like free therapy at the time. And then by doing so, I would encourage people to connect with me, which would build my brand and also hold me accountable. So if you are going to use social media, make sure you're being a creator rather than a consumer. Using social media can be a very powerful tool, but only if you're creating over consuming. Don't waste too much time watching other people's content. Start documenting your own journey and create your own. This will help build your business in the long run. Another hack that helps me is having a KPI dashboard. KPI stands for Key Performance Indicators. By checking this dashboard, which could simply be writing things down with a pen and pad or typing things in your notes on your phone or on your laptop, but you need to be checking your performance and making sure you're staying on track, doing your needle moving activities and ticking things off. By doing this, you'll have an indication to how you're performing. An example of a key performance indicator would be setting yourself the task of making 5 calls and sending 10 messages. A weekly key performance indicator would be 5 viewings and 1 offer. A monthly KPI would be one deal secured. Once you hit your KPIs, you should then raise them. So we start here by messaging 3 agents and 2 landlords. Once we're achieving that, then we increase the volume to 10 messages and emails per day. Once we're doing that day in, day out, then we set these KPIs to 5 calls and 10 messages a day, 5 viewings and 1 offer a week, 1 deal secured every month. Once you hit your KPIs, you raise them. This is how you track your progress and you make sure that you're moving towards your goals. Now, once you're consistently doing these needle moving activities, you're implementing your productivity hacks, you're being a creator over a consumer, and you're checking your KPIs, all of this work will start to compound and your small daily wins will turn into massive 12-month growth if you stick to doing these 2 hours of focused work every day. 2 hours of focused work today compounds into 5 years ahead of the crowd. Most employees watch the clock, whereas you, as an entrepreneur, you bend the clock to your will. It's not about how many hours you put in, but more about what you're doing in those hours that counts. Now, finally, I want you to remember the risk of inaction. The biggest deathbed regret from most people is, I wish I'd used my time better. Don't be one of these people. Don't waste time on things that don't matter. You don't want to be on your deathbed with regrets. Remember that consuming over creating keeps you stuck. So make sure you're doing more than you're consuming. Make sure you're working on your business more than you're doom scrolling on social media. If you start today, your future self will thank you in 6 months, in 12 months time. So I hope you found this video useful, guys. This is the 2-hour power block and why having no time is the biggest lie holding you back. This is the type of work I do day in, day out. This is the type of work my students do day in and day out. And this is why we're all achieving success, because we're committing to focused work. We're making sure we're doing needle moving activities. We're implementing productivity hacks. We're creating and doing more than we're consuming. We're setting key performance indicators. We're benefiting from the compound effect of small incremental steps every day. And we're aware of the risk of inaction that keeps us active, that keeps us moving forward. And this is how you succeed, guys. Now, if you want someone to help you get your first 1 to 3 rent-to-rent properties within the next 180 days, guaranteed, then I'll put a link in the description below. Click the link, you'll be able to book a call in with myself. On that call, we'll have a chat and see if we're the right fit for each other and whether I'd be a good mentor for you. If not, then keep watching my YouTube videos, stay locked in, stay focused, and I'm sure you'll achieve some success. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.